Smith and MacArthur meet some time for Cowboy Boy.
Are we?
I can record.
Oh, okay.
We can start whenever.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Me?
I would like.
Oh, intro?
You can.
I just start promoting my stuff off the bat.
Yeah. Tell them who you are, what you're up to.
I will.
Tell them what your favorite train video is.
I will tell you. Wait, train the band or train as in like a real
Either.
train?
Yeah. Whatever
no
that
rules.
means to you. Train video could be a porn thing.
I do not like that I'm finally on like a cool podcast and my first reference was the band Train.
I'm flattered you think our podcast is cool.
I do. Dude, every time you have the kind of career that occasionally I have to mute you on Instagram because I get a little jealous.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, because-
I've heard that before, and I'm like, truly, I don't get it, but I'm very flattered. I've had other people be like, "You have too much fun."
I remember what me and you did that show with Corinne Fisher in Nashville. I think I even introduced you. So wait, I went on after you and I was like really unfair that they just brought out a taller, better looking version of me first. And then it was like, hey, and this guy. Like I feel like I watch you and I go like I'll leave a comment sometimes on a video of yours that I think is funny and suddenly like 20 of the most beautiful goth girls I've ever seen in my life are following me and I'm like,
Ooh.
Is this his life?
I have the same.
Is this what he gets to do all day? Just talk to beautiful women?
I have the same problem, but it's a problem,
Right.
Because I'm like, I'm not into those goth mommies.
Oh,
Like,
no, I
so-
so am, but I feel like the only place that I wouldn't have the guts to talk to them in real life.
Oh, never.
But yeah, no, with you, you're like, because, it's rare that you find, just another tattooed, vulnerable, depressed dude who also likes to fight and shoot guns. Like,
Have you thought about getting a face tattoo?
I mean, look, if that's going to get me your career, I will in a heartbeat.
The full
I don't think
beard
it will,
does.
but it is
That's-
a move.
I'm jealous of your facial hair.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you see it gets red, though, which is very weird?
You know why that
Mine gets
happens?
blonde and red.
Do you know why that happens?
No, why?
The pH of a certain area you put your mouth is higher and dyes your brown hair red.
See, he does his research. That's a podcast.
Yeah,
Right,
dude.
right,
Is that real?
I think it's real. So if you're like, I have brown hair, I have brown hair everywhere, but a little down here, or a little red down there, and a little. Look at my mustache is
What a little treat.
pure black.
Yeah,
I keep that. I keep that thing. No pH balance issues there,
Dude.
Ladies. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Welcome to Cowboy Boys Podcast.
Yes.
We got JB Kilstein
Hello.
on third mic talking about eating pussy and being jealous.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Did you play my stand-up? Or did I already talk about eating? Sorry. I have a whole bit about eating pussy and being jealous.
That's what dyes your beard red.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
No.
Add it to your routine.
Yeah, there you go. You can have all of that,
Gonna
actually.
punch it up.
Yeah.
To be very-
Go
Start
ahead.
with a very obscure Train reference, then the audience is going to be very
Do you like
confused.
Train the Band?
I mean, I feel like when you... I'll flip it a little bit.
I couldn't name
When
one
I
Train
go
song.
to... I can't name them, but like when So comedy clubs, the thing about comedy clubs...
really good
like
music selection.
Yeah, like
Amazing.
But there's something about the scumminess of, like you have your own audience, right? So when people come out to see you, they're probably very confused because, again, I consider you a cool guy. And so many comedy clubs, they are in strip malls. Fucking a magician was there the night before.
A hypnotist open.
A hypnotist open for the magician. They have a feud. It's a whole thing. One
Train.
of them, they want to be co-headlining.
Train was there the
Yeah,
night before.
The music they play is literally they'll play like Jim Blossoms and Train, which what I was originally going to say is comedy clubs is the one space, and I think it's because comedy clubs are such trash that when that music plays, I'm like, yeah, all right. Like just all that 90s pop, Soul Asylum, like all that shit, whatever. And until you have a following with comedy clubs. I mean, this was the first 10 years of my career was they give out, this is the secret, kids. They give out free tickets because they make all their money on drink minimums. You have to buy, there's a 2-drink minimum. You legally, you have to buy 2 drinks.
So it's even more disappointing when no one shows up.
We're chicken finger alcohol salesmen.
This is what it is. And so you have to buy 2 drinks. And so they don't care who comes. So they just paper the town. They give out free tickets. And so I remember I used to do shows like under the Bush administration where there'd be like bachelorette parties there to see like comedy. And I'm just like, the military industrial complex, and we just get booed off stage every fucking night in between people eating mozzarella sticks.
How old are you?
I'm 40.
Well, you look great.
Yeah, dude, you're fucking
Thank you,
rushing.
buddy.
I was gonna be like,
Thank you,
you're
guys.
like Bush administration.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
No, I am 40. I am 40. Do the hot girls who listen, do they like that? Is
that's in now.
Is that what daddy means?
Well, actually, I think it's going under because now girls who are under 25 years old are underage. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with.
Although I will say, like, every time I do, you see everyone getting mad at Leonardo DiCaprio or whatever. But anytime like a 22-year-old or a 24-year-old even comes up and talks to me after a show, I am very much like, I can't fake it. We're different people. I have to go home. I'm very sleepy right now.
We don't even speak the same language.
I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That happens to me with people of all ages. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? Dude, nothing's funnier than somewhat like when I used to open when I used to headline before I could bring people with me.
Yeah.
And I would be like with the openers and like someone would hit on me, be like, what are you doing later tonight? And I'd be like, I brought a board game with me. I'm going to play it by myself. And they'd be like, what? And I'd be like, it was really cool. You came to my show. Thanks. And then the guys the locals who would open for me would be like, I think that girl's trying to fuck you. And I'd be like, dude, could not care less, man. I got to play a board game about the Civil War by myself.
This happened to me twice last week. I was doing shows in Austin, and the girls, I'm not drinking. I haven't been drinking for a while.
Huge congrats.
Thank you. And it's definitely a weird thing at comedy clubs. Like I feel very well, what I realized is I feel like I'm like, oh, I just want to drink to hang out here. And then I realize it's because, oh, I don't want to hang out here. You know, like I remember the first week I headlined, I was sober. I was at the Funny Bone in one of the upper New York, I think Syracuse. And this girl tried to fuck me and she was like, meet me at this bar. And at first I was bummed out because I'm like, man, if I was drinking, I could fuck that girl. But then I realized, like, wait, those are 2 things I don't want to do. I don't want to fuck the Rochester girl, and I don't want to drink. And so then I realized I was just drinking to just deal with being in places that I don't want to fucking be anyway.
You're drinking to deal with having to fuck a girl that looks however she looked.
Yeah, sure.
And you're like, oh, this is so much better. I'm glad I can't visualize her face right now.
Absolutely.
Those beer goggles are amazing.
Yeah.
And dude, I feel like all people, men, women, they, thems, aliens from other planets, if there was less drinking, there would be 80% less sex.
Yeah.
And that's a bad thing.
Yeah, people need to be cranking out babies.
Yeah, we'd all just like
who's gonna buy Roblox and pay for Netflix subscriptions if we're not cranking out babies?
That is true. That is true.
So.
Why are you sober, may I ask? How long have you been?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like saying sober because that makes it sound like there's a dark story. It's more, I have alcoholism in my family. Oh, there is a dark story. I have alcoholism in my family, and so I've always just been kind of weird about it. And I realized I don't like getting drunk. The only reason I have an addictive personality, the only reason I didn't become an alcoholic is because I'm a puss. Like I'm a lightweight. I hate being drunk. I hate feeling out of my, I can do psychedelics. But like drunk, the second I start to get that sort of dizzy, I'm just like, I fucked up. I am miserable. I hate it.
Do you have bad motion sickness?
Yes.
That might be it.
Yes.
I love getting the spins.
Oh, dude.
I'm like, oh, this sucks.
No, when I was a kid,
I
hate it. When I was a kid, I had my own little throw up bucket, which I thought was a normal thing for kids. It's not.
Well, like next to your bed or
next to in the car. Like I would just have Jamie would hold like a throw up bucket, and I was like, yeah, all kids have throw up buckets, right? And they don't.
Yeah. That was me with pissing my bed. I was like, yeah, kids piss,
they got
right?
A little piss can.
Yeah. No, they don't. Most people don't piss their bed till they're 14 years old. And then a couple times after.
Yeah.
And then a few times as an adult.
You ever see those glasses with the water in them for motion sickness?
Yeah,
you ever
yeah,
try
yeah.
those?
No.
Oh,
What the fuck?
Dude, they apparently work.
It sounds like it would make me sicker.
It would definitely be sadder. It would make the whole thing sadder.
Have you ever tried VR goggles? That might fuck your shit
I did
up.
for the first time, and I was like, it was at the Van Gogh, the immersive thing. It was so serene that I was okay, but I like very much had to. I didn't look around as much as other people do.
Because that's the one thing where I've never gotten motion sickness. I've like been at carnival rides with a full stomach of pizza.
Yeah,
roller coasters, cars, doesn't matter.
living on the edge, son.
Yeah, I put on VR goggles on a game that was not ready, and I was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm dying."
Yeah.
So I do not envy that feeling.
Well, so what I was gonna say about the sober thing is, so I realized that I didn't like. I was doing it at shows, and it just became, like I opened for like Luis Gomez and some of the partier guys, and then I started opening for Duncan Trussell in Austin. He stopped drinking around the same time.
Yeah.
And once I saw that there was like a cool comedian that I like look up to that didn't drink, suddenly I realized, was I just drinking like a 16-year-old drinks for peer pressure?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't like it, and I would just do it to hang out. And so I was like, if I leave it on the table and just say I'll do it in moderation, like I never drank at home, I never wanted to, I never drank by myself, but I didn't like that someone who considers himself fairly disciplined when it comes to jiu-jitsu, when it comes to writing, when it comes to all these things, that I would go to a show and just be like, yeah, I guess, whenever someone would offer me. And then I'd drink this thing that destroyed my childhood that doesn't even make me fucking feel good.
Yeah.
And then I would start to be self-hating about drinking 2 fucking drinks. And I was so confused because I'm like, I'm not drunk. I'm not ruining marriages. I'm not crashing cars. But I think it was just, I didn't like that. I'm just doing it to fucking fit in at backstage at a comedy show.
Yeah.
Sounds like you have Mormon guilt about it.
It
A little
does.
bit. I
And
have a lot of
also,
guilt.
when you say I'm not ruining marriages or crashing cars, it's like, God, I know it's bad, but it sounds awesome.
That sounds so
It
fun.
sounds fucking
That sounds
awesome.
so fun.
Oh, dude, I
If,
want to crash a car
just
and
going
ruin a
on the
marriage.
road, fucking up marriages and crashing cars, baby.
I've done both. I
the
fucked
same
up
time?
my own marriage.
I fucked
and
up my
crashed
own
a car.
marriages. I didn't crash
Yeah,
a car.
I crashed a car
I've only
on the
been
road.
rear-ended. Yeah,
I've been touring comedy, ruined my marriage, and then I crashed a car touring once.
I didn't know you were married.
I was.
We don't have to. You've told the story a million times, but I forgot that.
I
That's
very
another-
rarely talk about it on the podcast, if ever.
That's another
That's an open
horrible
mic
thing
age.
we have in common.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, and
Me
She's
too.
great.
and I'm bad at. I was very, I don't know. It just didn't work out.
It was amicable.
It was amicable.
And we'll leave it at
Yeah.
that. Tune into the Patreon where we dive deep into Shayne's marriage. Patreon.com/cowboyboys.
I don't have a page. Well, I don't have a Patreon. Just follow me on Instagram. And then I won't tell you anything. I don't have any more information. I know exactly what you know about
So-
Shayne's marriage.
So you were saying you looked up to cool comics and they weren't drinking that. If a cool comic was like, I'm doing heroin, would you like, maybe?
Yeah.
It doesn't,
Yes.
no motion sickness? It
No.
doesn't feel bad.
I know you're kidding, but like the way I'm so insecure that like, yeah.
Do you have to
Okay,
like,
so the first time I opened for Doug Stanhope, do you know Doug?
yeah,
do we know Doug Stanhope?
Yeah. I don't.
we don't know him personally.
Okay, yeah. So I was
I
asking.
actually think a few of his friends dislike me, so
interesting.
I have anxiety that Doug. Maybe he doesn't really know who I am, but on the periphery would be like, "Oh yeah, fuck that."
I feel
guy.
like
I mean, Doug and I have been friends, and I think the same thing.
I feel
So,
like the Unbookables would love me. Shout out R.I.P. Sean Rouse.
yeah. But the first time he was the first big comic who took me to open for him.
Oh, sick.
And I was like 20, and I didn't have a place to stay. Oh, but by the way, when I say open, before I like featured for him, I drove like 4 hours to do an unpaid guest spot. But I was like, that's opening for Doug Stanhope.
It
And
counts.
So I went to, I think it was the Baltimore Improv. I was living in Jersey, and
You'd probably made your money back from all the like just alcohol flowing around him.
yeah, I drank a lot. And so drinking, smoking. Like I mean, I didn't smoke for like 10 years, and then I saw Doug again like 10 years later, and I was like, I guess I smoke cigarettes now,
Hell
just
yeah.
because. But there was a point he found out I didn't have a place to stay, and he goes, "Hey man, you can stay with me." And he's an old school road guy. He was doing one-nighters in like Montana and shit for decades before anyone knew who he was. So he goes, I only use half the bed, so you can sleep in my bed. And there was part of me that I'm like, I guess this is how you break into the biz. Like, I'm going to have to fuck Doug Stanhope. And I'm like rationalizing in my head. And he's just a great guy who uses half of the bed.
I've shared half a bed with an adult man for quite some time.
Yeah.
We slept in bunk beds at one point,
That was fun.
which is not the same, but I would crawl into Mac's
rules.
area.
Okay, good.
How's Doug? How does he sleep? Does he have boxers? Does he have like a full? Does he put on
Just
a
full
nightcap?
pajamas.
Does he have a weird suit?
He
A
has like a
special
little
velour suit he sleeps in.
The fact that I didn't remember then led to me going, did I block it out? Then led to me going, maybe I did fuck Doug Stanhope.
Maybe.
I didn't fuck him. I don't remember what he wore.
Yeah,
Personally, Doug Stanhope is a top. He fucks you.
That is
no, not true. I
very
don't think his
true.
penis works.
I think he matches it into you.
Okay, he matches his soft.
You know,
I-
when it's like half soft, and you're just
Yeah.
like. You're like it'll work. We got this.
This is how I'm reading a book about self-sabotage, and I'm like, oh, I finally am doing a podcast with Shayne, and I'm in front of all those hot girls, and I'm like talking about grizzled comedy veteran Doug Stanhope and having sex with him.
Hold on, is a self-sabotage book the opposite of a self-help book? Like, are you just
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh, this is
the
how?
best way to self-sabotage yourself. Lay a landmine somewhere in your yard, but forget about it.
Chapter 1, if you're reading this sober, why?
Wait, so can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you? Oh no, you've never really drank, have you?
Yeah, he did.
When I was a child, when I was a child, I drank quite heavily.
Okay, I was gonna ask the difference between,
Child drinking,
I
adult
can't-
drinking.
I can't even talk to girls after shows now that I'm not drinking at all. In fact, this is what I was gonna say to some question forever ago. The last 2 girls that hit on me after a show, this was like this month in Austin, they were not like even drunk, just tipsy enough that one of the comics was watching me. I was like, hey, maybe you should drink some water. I took their wine. I did the opposite of Jesus, and I gave them water. And I was like, just like chill here, and like, you know, that's how I reacted to them hitting on me. Is I gave them water and I left.
Yeah,
It's worse than a board game. I mean, not that like I would like fuck a drunk girl, but at the same time, like, I don't know. There was another group of girls who were just like, yeah, come out with us. And I was like, no.
yeah.
And like,
I never in my life.
never.
I would only fuck a drunk girl if I was sober if there were 2 of them. 2 drunk girls.
2 drunk girls.
And they're like, they overpowered me.
Right.
They're stronger when they're drunk.
Oh, fuck. They got me. By the way, you say a lot of hot girls on the podcast, but trust me, a lot of men who also watch train videos listen to this
Okay.
podcast.
All right, good.
A lot of men listen to
My
train
DMs are going to be so confusing.
a lot of very ripped dudes, too.
Ripped dudes?
Yeah, dude. We have some gym bros that
What
listen
the
to this
fuck,
podcast.
man? You
They
even
hit
get
me
hot
up.
guys?
Yeah, they're jacked as fuck. One of the biggest guys I've ever seen in my life listens to the podcast, and I message him all the time, and I'm just like, God, if something happens, I want you to be my friend.
Yeah.
Like if the revolution happens, I want to like fly him out.
Dude, I was just saying that about where I am in Texas, where the amount of, because I never even had a conservative friend when I lived in Brooklyn, like not any. The
We got
idea
2
of
now.
owning a guy. But like, holy shit, if there is a civil war, I'm like, my one side are all like Navy SEALs and Green Berets and fucking fun to hang out with, and the other side's just like mad on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, I know who I'm
That's
sticking
like
with.
one of my old favorite Rory Scovel bits where he's just like, if there's a civil war, one side has all of the guns.
Very funny.
Every last gun.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, maybe we should get some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The left has like, we have vegan pizza. It's like, that's not gonna help.
Yeah, it's the worst vegan food. Don't even make it.
That's true.
Do a different vegan thing. There's so many good vegan things, but it's not pizza. I'll tell you that.
I know.
Are you-
I used to eat the fucking diet cheese pizza or whatever.
Diets.
And I made like every time my family, I was like, you got to try this. It's just like real cheese. And they would all get sick and get mad at me. And yeah.
He hates vegan cheese.
Everyone in the house is vegan or vegetarian, and so
Oh, really?
So they'll all be like, "I found the best place." Sometimes I'll get stuck with them, and they'll be like, "This is a 10 out of 10 vegan restaurant," and I'm like, "It's a 5 out of 10 normal restaurant," which is still really good for vegan standards. There's only been like 1 or
Is
2.
Blossom still a thing on 9th. It was like kind of fancier.
I don't know.
Blossom ruled. That place was good because it didn't try to do like this is a vegan cheese. It just did like dope. Vegan.
As a vegetarian, my diet's fucking terrible. I just drink Athletic Greens twice a day, and I eat one Chipotle meal, and I feel and creatine.
Are you just giving ads out for free?
It's what? It's good, dude. Fucking
Yeah.
Are you packing heat out in Texas?
Sure am. Concealed, son.
fuck yeah, dude. Let's go.
Yeah.
That rocks. I have one for you. When I get to Utah, my brother just hands me a pistol, like in the movie 13 Hours or whatever. When he gets to Libya, and the other Navy SEAL just gives him a. That's what I'm on. Like we get there, and it's just like, go fuck with me and find out.
My analogy was so much lamer. I was thinking about whenever you go to Hawaii, they give you like lays at the airport.
Yeah.
It's just like that with ammunition and guns.
They just give you a bandolier. You're like, yeah, thanks, bro.
Well, it's so wild because. Anything I've become more conservative on isn't because it's convenient. It would have been convenient for me to be conservative like 10 years ago. And I was like, no, I'm still pretty liberal. But I moved to Texas and I became friends with like these dope conservative dudes who I like as like people. Like I'm like Tim Kennedy. I'm like I like you as like a man. Like when I looked at like his Instagram, I was like, oh, we're not gonna get along. But I see the way he's like,
is he like too gay for America or something?
He's like his Instagram is very conservative, very popular, very
incredibly bottoms for America, incredibly hard, dude.
But like you start seeing the way these people are with just like. Their families or their friends and
their personal lives.
And then I can ask them questions about politics. And suddenly when I started hanging out with gun guys, and the reason I asked them to train me is I go, look, I'm a fighter. If I see someone in trouble, I'm going to do something. I literally was like, I just want to know how to like clear it safely. I'm never going to shoot it, but I just want to know how to clear it. They're like,
that's how they get you.
Yeah.
That was the gateway drug.
I should be responsible.
Yeah. That was
next thing you know, you're firing a gun from a moving four-wheeler.
Just fully automatic mag dumping. And this is the greatest feeling ever. Not to quote another thing, it's the Simpsons joke where Homer is like, when he's like, holding a gun is what God must feel like when he's holding a gun. And it's like, there's never been a more perfect description.
That is so fucking good. That's a perfect joke. Holy shit.
Dude.
But the wild thing was so many of the arguments that we just mocked on the left are like true. Like whenever we would hear someone go, what about a good guy with a gun? Us at the left was like, oh, good guy with a gun. We're your good guy with a gun. You fuck. And then like now that I just see a slightly different news feed, I'm like, oh, there are a lot of like good guys with guns.
Oh,
like that fucking like 20-year-old kid who stopped the mall shooting, and I think it was Minnesota. He was like 40 feet away. Him and his girlfriend were getting people to safety, and he just took out a fucking mall shooter.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's also like, it's the small things. I, in my personal life, have seen like a situation was going to go in terribly bad.
Yeah.
And then one of my friends was like, I'll just fucking kill all of you. And everyone was like, all right, I guess we shouldn't fight or do this.
and disperse.
Yeah. And disperse. Like, I don't know, man.
I like holding a gun because then I'm like on high alert, and if anything happens, I'm like, I'm out of here immediately. Even if the vibe's wrong. I don't even see it get to that point.
I actually find myself being much more amicable and like feeling very responsible for how I behave towards people when I'm carrying.
Dude, same. Me too. And at first you're like, I would much rather live in a world where that's not why we are. I'd much rather live in like a Jesus-y kind of like there are no guns and we all love each other and blah, blah, blah. But I remember when I first over COVID was the first time I didn't live in like Brooklyn or LA. I was in Arizona. And I remember talking to my mom and being like, it's so wild. Like everyone's way nicer here. Like no one like honks their horns. And my mom's like, right. Because everyone has a gun. And they're scared to honk your horn. And I'm like, that's not good, but also like, yes, that is
low key,
totally
like,
right. But
pretty chill.
It's the same with the last people that I would ever get into a fight with or a bar fight with are my fighter friends, because not only do you know you can handle yourself, so to your point with the gun, but you also know the consequences of it. And both of those things combined make you a pretty fucking cool person. Because I'm like, I don't have to prove myself, whether it's because I'm carrying or because I know I can fight. But also, I've seen the consequences of fucking up, or anybody can land a lucky shot, or, you know, obviously with a gun, you know, the consequences.
Yeah.
But I think that, because the example, my big anti-gun example I always used to give for the good guy with a gun was, I don't know, I was living in New York, so it must have been like 15 years ago, where there was like, the cops in Times Square were going after like some like low fucking robber, someone like was a shoplifter or something, and they tried to shoot this guy. They shot like 12 civilians and did not come close to shooting this guy.
It's so unfunny, but it's so unfunny that it's hilarious.
So
the NYPD's so comical.
there's-
I'm sorry, and they're just like firing. It's like, fuck, dude, I guess.
Yeah, and so that was my whole like good guy with a gun argument, and I remember I pitched that to some of my like SEAL buddies or my SF buddies, and they were like, yeah, we conservative, you know, pro cop, whatever, think that they have horrific training and that they need more training. And so it's not that, and by the way, anyone who, this is still the liberal in me, is if you do have a gun, like, I think you should fucking train a lot. Like, it is like a total responsibility, but especially the cops, dude. The fact that the cops aren't training jujitsu or they're not at the fucking range like every week is bananas.
Any
to
cop
me.
who's not in shape is wrong.
It was wrong. Is wrong.
It's like soldiers. There should be a baseline, and it should be incredibly high for you to be in the field. If you're a fat cop, you get to do paperwork.
Ideally, yes, but I like fat cops.
I mean, listen,
Because you
I
can get
do
away with
too.
shit.
Yeah.
Because they're hilarious.
Dude,
and you know you can get away with shit.
I've literally seen two cops too lazy and out of shape to deal with me jumping the turnstile, where I was like too far away, and the guy looked at me and he just went like this, like, "Hey, I saw you, and if I was faster, I would stop you, but you need to chill." And I was just like, "All right," and I just went right into the
For
train.
the record, I used to be in shape, but I have an MCL tear, and that's from high school football, and I could have gone pro. And you're just like, "All right, bud, bye."
Yeah, dude.
It's good. You want incompetent police who are not violent.
Yeah.
Just incompetent enough to do their job and just be taking up space.
Yeah, just linger.
Wasting our money. Whatever.
Anyway, I'm sorry I brought up like so many serious topics, but I get excited to
brought
talk
them up.
about that stuff. Did
It's
you?
true.
I bring them up.
You brought up
But we-
the little dizzy
Yeah,
goggles.
we grew up in a place where I went from all conservative friends first to then liberal friends. So I had like an opposite thing from
Right.
you.
So
but
do-
I never stopped being friends with my friends because being culturally conservative makes you a little politically conservative, but they don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
Most of them don't even vote. Most liberals don't even vote.
Okay, call me out on this. Tell me if this is me just being, because right now conservatives are just being nicer to me. So I need to call myself. I rebought a Ta-Nehisi Coates book the other day just to be like, let's keep me in check. Let's just make sure we
yeah.
don't drift too far. Do you think that it seems that conservatives in some ways are more open-minded to talk to people who disagree with them than liberals are? I'm not saying they're more open-minded as like humans,
Yeah.
but are more open-minded to have like reasonable conversations.
I think that what you're trying to say is, are they more mentally tough? And 90% of the time, yes.
They could just
I
take
never actually, no, that's brilliant. I never equated it to that.
They're just better at getting yelled at.
Right.
Like, the one side is screeching and annoying, and they're like, okay, but what about my stupid thing? And then they don't get to really output their hate is pragmatic and secret too.
Yeah. Also,
the mental toughness thing is fascinating.
When we think about this, it's because we're very online.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah,
seeing a lot of
right.
conservatives who are very online, and you're like, oh, weird. They're bad, and they are.
Yes.
And then you see a lot of liberals or leftists online, and they're the worst.
Sure.
And you're like, oh, that's terrible. But here's the thing: in real life, I get to interact with people who are like culturally conservative. They practice, like, they actually have guns and they enjoy and whatever. And I'm like, oh, but you're really kind. You're cool. You're open-minded. You're a good guy. You want to help me.
Yep.
I went to Texas to do a podcast with a bunch of guys who are very conservative.
Yeah.
And I was very openly like, I'm a fucking communist. I think I like Stalin, like whatever. And they were just like, yeah, fucking cool, man. You're a fun guy. You're a nice guy.
Yeah.
I don't like cops. Well, I used to be a cop. fucking, but you know what? You're a nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, and then it was this whole thing and we were learning and whatever. And it was fun.
That's my experience with all the conservatives I'm friends with in Texas too.
Yeah. And so, and then
I think it's because they're like, hey, I may not like this guy, but when he's burning in hell, I'm going to be in heaven and things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
Things are gonna be pretty- I only have to deal with him here on this realm.
Where do you hang out and physically congregate with leftists? Where are they in the world?
Right. Anymore. Right.
They're not.
They're on fucking Twitter.
They're on Twitter only.
Yeah.
Exclusively.
Yeah.
I can go back to Utah and go to like a random group, a skate park or a fucking gym, or go do CrossFit, and I'll run into a bunch of culturally conservative guys or whatever.
It's my jiu-jitsu place, churches. Yeah.
There's no real life place.
You know what this is?
What?
They're out there, but it's like it's a bunch of dudes being like, "Where are the girls? Where are they?" There's 8 to 12 to 60 of us guys here, and girls. No one has an answer for that.
Yeah.
But then when a huge pack of liberals walk into the club, you're like, "All right, let's go."
And that's the thing too, is I'll go to a CrossFit gym or whatever, and then you meet a lot of people who are like, whatever. And you know what's funny is they always have secret opinions that are communist or socialist, and they're like, and then they'll, as soon as
and all
you're
my liberal
like,
friends have secret kind of like, it's the exact same thing. And when you get offline, you realize that the majority of like conservative or liberals, they agree on so much more shit than they think. Again, normal people. All of my conservative friends, again, Tim Kennedy, who comes on my podcast, special forces guy, UFC fighter, been on Rogan a bunch, has like 1 million followers on Instagram. All of the fucking memes are conservative, anti-Biden, all this stuff. On my podcast, he said, if I ever heard someone at my church saying anything derogatory about a gay person, we would go outside and I would have words with him. Like, doesn't give a fuck, right? That's the majority of all my conservative friends. I couldn't tell you one of them that was like homophobic or shitty like that. And then I have liberal friends in Austin as well. A lot of my like liberal feminist girlfriends are like, fuck yeah, I carry a gun.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Are you out of
And
your
you
mind?
should.
Yeah. And so I think that those are normal people, but it's so fucking bizarre that when it comes to representation, you have to be an extreme idiot on either fucking side. And if you're nuanced at all or in the middle, you're either like a fucking grifter or pick a side, or you're a conservative sellout or a liberal sellout, when in reality, like, I think it's mostly people like this.
It's time to take the most mocked pill, the libertarian pill.
Yeah, I know. Dude,
Imagine getting just shit on from everyone.
Every time I hang
it
out-
only makes me more stronger.
Every time I hang out with Dave Smith, I'm like, I could do this.
Ooh.
He's killing it. He has a beautiful family. He might run for president.
You don't want to put two libertarians in a room. We're like cats who are like, what is he doing over there? He's not free enough.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe in the freedom I believe
I
in.
don't know. I kind of like the libertarian thing.
I'm going to vote for
don't
Marianne
hate it.
Williamson, 100%.
Oh, that would be incredible.
She's the best. She's the best candidate. And if you don't vote for her,
She rules.
you're a bad person. That's all I got to say about that.
yeah.
Unless she gets knocked out, then it's Kanye again.
I'm just gonna write us in.
We have someone
We have
did.
some fans who wrote us in and showed us that they wrote us
That
in for
fucking
president, and I was like,
rules.
"Gee, that's so
But
funny."
that invalidates your vote if you take a picture of it and show it. So
If the government knows.
Oh, you guys could have won if they didn't take a picture.
Damn,
Maybe.
you're so right. Oh, fuck. Anyway, my point about the thing of meeting people is that I just don't meet the screechy, crazy people in real life. Maybe sometimes
know
at
if they
comedy
exist in real
clubs,
life. Yeah.
some of them do comedy, and I'll meet them there. That's the only place.
But then are they just like kind of like quiet and in the corner? Like, or are they?
yeah,
are
they're
they
quiet.
yelling
And
at
then
you?
as soon as you leave, you hear that they were like, they talk shit about you or
At a
whatever.
club in New York.
Yeah. So it's like
I see some of them
those
on the
people
subway.
are pathetic. Those are the people who have it's like someone was being angry about communism or whatever, and this other person is supposedly an anarchist. And then this guy asked her a very serious question. He goes, in your perfect society, how do you have a supply line to get people in your anarchist convent insulin? How are you going to produce and move insulin around
just
your
have
society?
a community garden about it.
Yeah, and she was like, supply lines, that sounds like something I would want to blow up. And the guy was like, oh, okay, so I can have a real conversation.
You know,
like,
Right.
Politics isn't real.
So
yeah,
this
that's the
is
thing.
crazy.
It's not real. All of it on Twitter is like not real. I'm an anarchist. What is that fucking... Okay, insulin. That's my immediate response to anyone who's like a full-on anarchist or whatever. It's like, So we're not. None of us are being real with each other. Is the point I'm making?
Right.
So you're being insane.
I mean,
You've
that's the
got
thing with
to
social
go out
media.
into the real world and enjoy some
I
people.
love
Yeah.
social
Well,
media.
I go.
I'm off, baby. It's so nice.
Oh, I am too.
No, my intake's up. I'm like 8 hours a day on TikTok.
He went more. It's like when I stopped eating meat, he started eating more.
That's you're just trying to like keep the world balanced.
I'm
dude.
just like, it's only gonna get worse, and so I got to keep up with the Zoomers.
Wow. So I never did TikTok.
Oh, you're missing out.
And everyone told me, everyone's like, dude, you'll get so fucking, but big if you get on. And I'm like, is it worth me killing myself? Is it worth me dying?
It's
Instagram.
I don't think the algorithm would show you anything that would make you want to do that because it wants to keep you on TikTok.
But he would absorb comments from others.
Yeah. The whole.
Please comment on
And
my.
Comment on Mac's TikTok.
Dude,
Tell him
do whatever.
anything you
I
want.
mean, guys, still follow me on Instagram, please, at the Jamie Kilstein.
But he's muted all of you.
Do you? No, you guys, I like. I've never had anything but lovely interactions with your fans. But I will say,
Let's change that.
do you? Yeah, guys, that PTSD. Do you get like? Because I'll go back and forth between. Me and you have talked about this off air, between being like, this isn't real. None of these people are real. I'm going to get off. I'm going to take a break. I'm really happy. And then like sometimes I see a negative comment and I'm a step away from being like, here's my address. Come to my house and say that to my face.
Oh, dude, I've accidentally done it. I literally posted my address on Instagram and my agent had to message me and be like, hey, stop trying to fist fight people.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with jiu-jitsu gyms. I have sent, like, I'm very public about the places I train. You can literally sign a waiver and fight me. If you have that much of a problem. When I was at 10th Planet, like I would say that when I was here at Marcel, you can legally fight me.
Yeah,
and will never happen.
We do comedy. One time a guy did try to shoot me. But
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do a whole bit about it. It's like an hour.
Will you send it to? Okay. Do you have like video of it?
I have video of
would
it. I'll send it to you
love
if you'd like
see
to
that.
hear it. It's pretty fun.
Okay,
it's
yeah,
a
for
fun
sure.
little thing. But yeah, a crazy guy did try to. Well, he said he was going to shoot me. I don't think he really was.
Yeah.
But he's like one of those guys that's like barely well enough that no one, and he's in like Wyoming, so people are like, that's Gerald. We let him drive. Maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of those guys. He got really mad at me, and he came to a show with a gun, and he was going to try to kill me, but it didn't work out, obviously.
I only know two things about Wyoming. They killed Matthew Shepard, Dick Cheney, and now I know about Gerald. So now I know.
Dick Cheney's from Wyoming?
I think so. Isn't that Wyoming?
I don't know, dude.
Yeah. I think the Cheneys are
Wyoming's
Wyoming.
fun.
I never had. They shut a club down once because I got death threats. I think outside of Denver, I had a bottle thrown at me.
How did the manager feel about that? Was he like, "This is actually good"?
No,
this is good hype.
He was bummed. He was not happy. My favorite wasn't the bottle thrown at me. Is then at another show, I tried to make it a bit and tell a story about how I got a bottle thrown at me. And as I was telling the story, a dude just goes and throws another bottle at me. So he tried to like make it a callback and try to be funny.
Yeah.
And so I've technically had two bottles.
It
thrown
is
at
funny,
me.
but not when he did it right then.
Looking
back, I'm like, okay.
Looking back, it's
Man, that guy's
very
stupid.
funny. I mean, what a ballsy move! Is imagine being the person in a comedy club, hearing a guy go, "I had a bottle thrown at me," and being like, "Oh fuck yeah, I know what I'm gonna do,"
reminds
and
me of
just
He
hurling
just starts drinking as fast as he can. I'm gonna fucking throw this bottle.
This reminds me of the time when 3 women came up on stage and started sucking me off against my will. Oh no!
overpowered again.
There's 3 girls come up and one of them, you're like, no, not you, not you.
Yeah.
You
keep-
too, though. Yeah,
Those ones over there.
Yeah, you're the timekeeper.
3.
Yeah, it is funny how people like to get involved.
Wild.
I had someone try to fight me after a show.
Oh,
I've had that once.
I had that one time.
Did a
and
joke trigger it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And his friends like stopped him. He's very drunk. And I was not in it. I at no point was like, let's do this, because it was one of those like where it's like, oh, you're drunk and you're just, it's sad. I said that I was braver than the troops. In a joke, I said I was braver than firefighters, the troops, and all police officers. And he was like, you can say whatever you want about cops and firefighters, but you're not braver than the true.
Yeah,
and he was like, take it back.
It's almost amicable, but still sad. You're like,
I
you
also
love your buddy.
Yeah.
I love how this guy sold out cops so fast.
Yeah, no, immediately, dude. He didn't
Like,
give a fuck.
Fuck those other guys.
Yeah. He was like, fuck the other two, but his friends were with him. And I literally was like, because I don't give a fuck. I was like, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean it. It's a joke.
Did he look strong?
No.
Oh, you should have let him pretend to kick your ass. The ultimate fans are like, hey guys, just let him like be like, oh no,
Yeah.
and then pretend to get knocked out and his
You-
friends grab
Yeah,
you.
you get an email like, our buddy really needed that. He's actually not a troop. He works at Chick-fil-A. It made him feel tough.
I wouldn't have been surprised if he saw Valor. You know when someone's so mad that you
Start
can,
shaking?
yeah, you can tell like they're like
Overstimming?
completely overstimming. Yeah, he's like completely out of control, like ready for the next thing. And his friends like, no, come on, man, and they grabbed him. And I was like, sorry. As soon as his friends grabbed him, he was like, and now I can
big, bro. Let me bang.
let me bang, bro.
Just crying.
The exact same thing happened to me. I had a joke very similar to that during the Iraq War, and that was the guy who tried to fight me too. And yeah, at no point did if either of us egged it on, it would have happened. And I did the exact same thing. And I was like, hey man, like and I still feel this way. I'm like, me being against the war or making jokes like that doesn't mean I'm like anti you. Being anti-war is a very pro-troop stance, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, literally.
It's like, I don't want you to die. And he was just drunk and sad, and his buddy came up to me and was like, hey man, he's just like going through. I mean, imagine seeing a comedian and being like, I'm gonna
gross.
yeah, I'm already and like wanting to fight them.
Yeah,
Like,
it's crazy.
it's a lot. Yeah.
Anyone who's just mad at anything a comedian says, if you're in the club, if you're online, like I get it because people online are insane and they're like, well, I have free time. My opinion
That's
needs
what I used to do.
heard.
That's what I used to do. I used to get super mad about everything just because I was miserable and depressed, then online all the time.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
wasn't around real fucking people, dude. Like, you
Yeah,
have to just be
so
around
bad
real
for you.
people.
So. If you're listening to this and a lot of your friends are online, I think that's can be great and it's a good tool, but you've got to fucking get into real life. Online is so bad for you.
No, just be sarcastic. Don't take anything seriously online. Get more online and only troll people.
That is the
only
way.
trolling.
Max,
I
right.
don't have that.
Those
yet.
are the two ways. You're either not
Offline?
online or
Yeah.
you're so online
Yeah.
that you've blown past caring about things.
That's
and
brilliant.
you don't think it's real.
Those are like
Yes.
the people who can drink in moderation.
You-
though,
you
where I'm
have
like,
to be-
ugh, I
here's
can't
the-
do that.
Yeah,
can
yeah.
do that.
You either have to be a guy who lives in the Matrix and doesn't know, or you have to be Mac, which is a guy who was like, machines control the Matrix, and Mac was like, so?
Yeah.
And then just kept living in the Matrix, dude. And he's just still in there.
That's so.
Not me. I'm
So there's still
unplugged,
rules.
baby.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna be Cypher soon.
Plug me back
As soon
in.
as your career hits a certain part, they're gonna be like, Mr. Smith is gonna show up and be like, hey, do you want to be famous forever? And you're like, give me the plug
No
me back
way.
in, baby.
Dude, so
If-
I had a realization. Maybe this will help you.
You were
when
watching
you're
Andrew
off social-
Tate?
Yeah. Guys,
You know
did
what?
you guys know that women are horrible?
Oh, dude, interesting. I've never considered that.
Go on.
Indubitably.
No, I had this realization that because I kept rationalizing why I need to be online for my career. Twitter, especially because Twitter, I have a bigger following and like I can talk about politics and whatever.
Twitter's dying.
Instagram makes me happy. Instagram, like, I'll still go on, like, I have good friends on there. I don't have as big a following, but I can post about mental health. I see inspirational stuff. I follow fitness people. Like, it's healthier.
It's millennial Facebook.
Oh, good point.
It's nice. It's just like regular. I also
It's
like
regular.
Instagram. It's the one that I actually care about, and I've quit the other three almost entirely.
Yeah.
Though I'm a little back on Facebook because I have a lot of fans there.
Okay, so Twitter's where I'm the most, and I'll occasionally hear something I did and then I'll leave. But I know how to build an audience on Twitter. And so my publicist has told me, and some of these other people with big followings are like, yeah, you just got to respond to Elon Musk and do this and, make videos. When you go to do conservative shows, make a video of it. And at first you rationalize it to yourself where you go, okay, I'm going to do this to get the numbers up so that I can play more comedy clubs or more people will listen to my podcast. And then I'm going to stop. But the realization I had is if I go on Twitter to make snarky political things or whatever, and let's say I go from 40,000 to 100,000, well, all of those new people they followed me for this shitty thing that I don't even want to do. So now I either have to keep doing this thing that I don't want to do, or I go, hey, listen to my mental health podcast. And they're like, we don't give a fuck about that. We liked when you made fun of Ted Cruz or Chuck Schumer or whatever. And so all of this like rationalization of, I have to go online to build up the other things. It's like, no, anything you do online, that's why people will follow you. So we're just fucking lying to ourselves. We're telling ourselves we're creating because we made a tweet that's popular, but like that's not writing a stand-up joke. That's not doing that's not doing the shit I actually care about, but it's that instant validation so you feel like you're doing more than you are.
Also, I've got the math is in. People on Twitter don't come to shows.
Interesting.
It's like morning radio.
It's like morning radio. It's
No
not
shit.
real. People on Twitter don't fucking come to shows.
Okay.
People on Facebook come to shows.
Okay.
What, like, significantly more than the other platforms.
Why do you think that is, or how did you...
I came to that conclusion by literally using the analytics and doing the math on my last tour.
Yeah.
And then coming
makes
to...
you feel so good. Holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah. Twitter's bad. People on Twitter aren't real. They don't... If you're 2% of America's on Twitter, yeah?
How come I haven't seen either of you on True Social, where I'm blowing up?
Fuck, it's true.
Dude, I'm loving True Social.
fuck.
Let's go.
It's so fun there.
Twitter
I'm surprised I haven't been banned yet.
yeah. Twitter's like an actual, like a forum. Like it's like a 2% of the population of America's on Twitter, but 0.4% of that population is even active.
Yeah. I've definitely had people from Instagram come, but Instagram I'm more personal too.
Exactly.
Because again, I'm posting about like if I'm depressed or like shit that like actually it's not just like Joe Biden was in the news. You know what Twitter is? It's like fucking late night jokes. It's like Leno jokes compared to like deeper shit.
You know, you choose who you follow.
That's not real. He says that, but he says that like Twitter doesn't have an enemy of the day that everyone knows about. Like everyone doesn't weigh on the same issues every day.
Twitter is so fun because all I do is follow chronically online schizophrenic trans people.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's the funniest. Like it stays on that website. Nothing like really escapes it into the real world. But it's if you're in, you're locked in.
That's my thing. Trans people play all sports. I have no problem. I think trans women should be in women's sports for sure.
I'm talking about Twitter.
No. Listen to me. Trans people have a performance enhancing situation when it comes to Twitter. Why are they so much better at Twitter than everybody else? They're so much funnier than everyone else on Twitter. We need to stop talking about trans women being better surfers and wrestlers and start talking about why trans women are so fucking good at Twitter.
Why are you so much funnier than me on
Twitter?
Dude.
How are you doing that? Yeah. I need to know. So that's my thing.
I thought you were gonna have a theory on it.
Oh, I do, but I didn't want to say it.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's what the look was.
That's a Patreon only theory.
Yeah.
I already said schizophrenic.
Yeah, that explains the look. Okay,
Just,
cool.
Yeah.
It's wild when even like big stories, you talk to just a normal, intelligent, funny person, and you're like, oh, you see Matt Taibbi on Twitter, and they're like, I don't know who Matt Taibbi is.
I don't know who Matt Taibbi is.
He's like a reporter. Elon.
He was a Rolling Stone.
Dude, it's so good to be off.
It's the best. I've only been like off for a couple weeks.
Are you guys on Damas?
I don't even know
what. Jack. What's Twitter Jack's? What's his last name? Jack
Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey's. I don't know if he made it. It's the new blockchain Twitter.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Follow me on Damas.
Matt's got all of them. You have a
Holy
Parler?
shit!
I'm on Parler.
Yeah.
The second a new social media comes out, I have to go and like sign up and get my username.
At one point, Mac was trying to. He got Parler, and then I was like, "You should get banned." And he goes, "I'll try." And you were like posting like photos of like homeless people sucking each other's dicks on like. No one cared. No. They didn't notice you.
That is the thing about the social media is I think too many people take it too seriously.
Yeah.
And it's like I've been banned off TikTok 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh well, it's time to rise and grind, start posting again.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you have your home base like of Instagram where people can find you.
Yeah.
It's just like, just treat it like, because you were saying, oh, I did this take on Twitter. These people are following me. Do I got to keep doing this take? It's like, do whatever you want. Pivot 180 degrees.
Sure.
Be like, hey, what I said yesterday was stupid. Now I don't believe it anymore. Like, what? It's just treat online, because everyone's like, what about I think Zoomers are really worried about their they call it their something footprint, their digital footprint.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
so that's like a
Mine's already fucked.
no, and that's what I see a lot of young kids telling other kids, being like, a girl will post something insane on TikTok.
Right.
You're like, I sucked off a bunch of guys on the back of the butt, and you're like, everyone's like, digital footprint. Your bosses are gonna see that. It's like, yeah, everyone's gonna see everything online. The internet is so saturated, so just post whatever you want, whatever makes.
Why are you saying this while smiling? This sounds terrible. I hate it.
I know
just-
he's
hate
so
it.
wrong.
I mean, I
doesn't
admire you. I'm not I'm not even trying to be a dick.
He
Like,
exists in a world where there's no consequences for anything he does, because it's like you and I are
I'm
like,
like, you're describing awful things.
if I lose my social media, I don't have a job anymore.
right.
No, but you have
I'll
other
have a
social medias. You're not going to lose all unless you do an Alex Jones type of thing where you get deplatformed all at once.
If my Instagram and
guess what?
Facebook get banned,
Alex Jones has been wrong about everything.
yeah.
Tune into the Patreon for my real opinions.
Dude, I've had moments off social media where because I don't have as much shit to check, a lot of times, like, if I just want to go for a walk, I'll just leave my phone at home.
Hell yeah.
And I've had moments where I've looked up at the sky, stone cold sober, just without my phone, because I'm so used to this.
Yeah.
And I'll look up at the sky. It doesn't even have to be like a crazy beautiful night. I just look at the sky and I feel like I'm on psychedelic drugs.
Dude.
Where I'm just like, is this what I've been missing? Like, I do not need to. I've microdosed before. I've taken all the psychedelics. I literally, being off social media is the equivalent of like microdosing. It's the least depressed I've been. I can just have comments to my friends, whether they're famous or not, that I don't need to see strangers' opinions of. I leave my phone in the car now when I go to the gym, and I realize that even the times I thought I was like being inspiring because, you know, and I'd be like, hey, I got to work out in, even though I was depressed, I feel really good. I realized I'm working out so much harder now that I'm not posting it for other people, because suddenly I'm like, oh, I'm doing this shit for me.
Yeah.
And then what maybe you might be one of the only people I can talk to about this. I've had moments where I've turned my depression around like this on certain days, because I realized that, not that I would do it for attention, but if I was really depressed, I'd go, all right, well, at least I can like help people. So maybe I'll like post about it, and I'll post about it and be like, hey, I'm trying to get through it. Instead, now I'm not posting about it. So I just go, oh, let's just get out of it. Let's go to the gym. Let's go outside. Let's do something.
Oh, you don't dwell on it.
Trillion million %.
Yeah.
The best time to make if you want to help people, you should be in a healthy frame of mind.
Totally.
I used to do the opposite, where I'd be posting for catharsis. That's bad for you.
Yes.
It's very bad for
Not
you.
good.
I realize that now, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck. Dude, that's one of the things, and I'm constantly talking about it, and Mac is always like, but
No,
surfing?
feelings are gay and cringe.
Oh, yeah.
Keep it all in so you don't depress other people.
It's true. It's real. But like with surfing, was the first step into the world of like, you can't bring your phone into the water.
Well, unless you get an Apple Watch.
Unless you get an Apple Watch. And there are people out there, and I'm like, you're ruining your life.
I'll do that.
But you're out there, and then I was on it less and less. And then I realized, oh, like when I skate or like do other stuff, like you can post it. You can just have your phone, you listen to music, and then you just post it. But like, I don't really post surfing progress.
Yeah.
I don't really post about the beautiful day I have. I don't post about like, there's been a bunch of times in surfing where I do something and I'm like, that was one of the most incredible moments of my whole life. And no one's ever going to know about it. No one's going to see it.
Isn't that fucking cool?
There was like this time, like the day before Christmas or something, or near Christmas, where I'm in the water and it's snowing and the beach is covered in snow. And it's like me and two guys I've never met. And we're looking at the city and the sun's going down and it's all lit up and there's Christmas lights everywhere. And it's New York.
Holy shit.
And
dude.
it was like one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this is it. Snapshot with my eyes.
Yours
It's over.
forever.
It's so funny. Both of you are talking about looking up at the sky and being like, this is the most beautiful moment ever. No comments. And I'm thinking, I need to get a plane and do some skywriting. Like, this sucks.
Like in your cartoon biplane.
Just a thumbs down emoji.
But yeah, man, now I quit a bunch of the social medias. I'm on Instagram less, and like it has helped. Few things have helped my mental health more. I had no idea how much just being online in general was affecting me.
I was like, I got off and was just like, am I a happy person? Do I not even, like, I am happy so much.
Yeah.
now.
You just don't got that dog in you.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before. I had a website when I was like 14 with forums and stuff.
Yeah.
And I had the Something Awful forums come down, like one of the biggest websites on the internet. Everyone came and like ruined my forums and was trolling me and posting articles about me.
Whoa.
And so it was really weird. As a 14-year-old, I think it was just like, oh well, this is the internet. I'm part
that
of this.
made you stronger.
I think it just like
I think it broke his
me.
brain. Yeah.
broke me in an unbreakable way now.
Sure.
So I'm like, yeah, that's normal. That's what normal things happen on the internet. It's not normal, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like how I was abused in real life as a child.
Yeah.
And so now when I take physical punishment, I'm like, oh, this doesn't matter. Like, people are like,
this doesn't hurt.
yeah. How did you get so good at like fighting and surfing and stuff really fast? And it's like, oh, because I don't, the physical consequences, I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
He's the internet. He's
The
like,
internet
oh, yeah,
version of that.
I could absorb any and all of this.
Sure.
I think if you posted one of Mac's nudes, the more embarrassing it would be, the stronger and the sexier it would make him.
No, that's true.
That is one of those things. There was that one guy who was like threatening to blackmail me, and I'm just like, that's all.
You're like, I already posted that shit on Parlor, son.
Yeah, dude. Good luck, man. Unbeatable. Truly. And it's the same. I'm pretty confident like you could physically destroy me in so many ways, and I'd be like, I'm coming back for more, baby. But like, he's got it online. I do not have it
I
online.
don't have it online. Interesting that me and you both have it physically, and we don't have it online.
I was really strong, and then as I got more popular and the stakes got higher, I got weaker and weaker.
Interesting. I've always told myself that I assumed the opposite. I always told myself that like, you know, when I got attacked online forever ago, I didn't have like backup, you know, and I always said, oh, well, if I get, you know, if I have 100,000 followers, once I have backup, then yeah, I'll have some troll, but all my fans will go after them, or I'll still feel like I have something.
Mm-hmm.
But you're kind of describing, you know, people think that once I get richer, I'll be happier, but more money, more problems, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
it's like, now you're just worried about more shit. That's so fascinating. That actually is very helpful for me because there is part of me that's like, well, yeah, if I have like fucking 200,000 followers, I'm not gonna give a shit if like I get trolled or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the moral of this podcast. Don't try. You'll be happier.
That's it.
Genuinely, yes.
Or just try in real life. Try to be a good person. Try to fucking go surf and be in nature. And like,
you should try for fulfillment. But you
Fulfillment.
shouldn't try to try.
yes. Yeah.
Like, oh, I gotta try. Why?
That's empty
Is it going to
fulfillment.
fulfill you? Then
Right.
why are you trying?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So
100%.
Online doesn't fulfill Mac.
No.
He doesn't try, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's
Trolling
legitimately
fulfills
fun for
me.
yeah.
Ooh, I love when I get
Where
someone's
it's like,
goats.
but I think that's the thing though. But that's real. It's like when me and you tried to do it, it's because we were told by our industry that we have to do it.
Yeah, a guy who gives me money was like, you need to post more about this or
Yeah.
less
Right.
about X.
But it's like we like doing comedy. We like the live thing. We're like artists, but that's just we don't like that part. And so we should have to. It's like, do you remember that old Mitch Hedberg joke where he was talking about how, you know, with stand up you can't just be a stand up, where they're like, oh, you do stand up, do you act? And he was like, you wouldn't go up to like a chef and be like, oh, you cook, do you farm? Whereas like these are very different things.
Yeah. No, you have to do a bunch. Nowadays, I'm like, I'm even less in on stand up, and I'm like, I just want to do this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm over it. Because stand-up is like, you absorb so much evil from that now. Just because people are like, you offended me or whatever. You know, you're just some lady who's being like, you said prostitute instead of sex worker. You're not woke.
You
And
know
it's
what your
like,
problem is? You're not going on stage trying to offend people.
I'm not. I want to make people happy.
I want when my first album's coming out, I'm gonna have caution tape over my mouth and the microphone over my neck.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yep.
We still... Dude, that's the
And
classic.
it's gonna say
Triggered.
triggered.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, bro.
Oh,
Never
that's-
been done before.
I will say that's my favorite thing to do when dudes, like conservative dudes, get mad at my jokes. Or like, oh, so you're a communist or whatever. And I'm like, I'm sorry this triggered you.
Yeah.
I always just apologize very sincerely. I'm sorry this triggered you. It makes them, they go, I'm not, I just replied and I go, it sounds like you weren't going to say anything.
Yeah.
And then I made you emotional, which is a trigger.
It's a little snowflake.
And I didn't, and I didn't mean to do that to you. I don't want to trigger anybody. And then they'll be like, they'll literally just stop replying to me or whatever.
Amazing.
It's the funniest shit.
You're like, I respect any and all cucks.
Hey, Venezuela killed 8 million people, and I'm not triggered right now.
I think
right.
once the political people realize that like they're all fucking hypocrites. I remember within like a month, it was all the liberals wanted to cancel Roseanne. And all the right were like, oh, you're fucking triggered by Roseanne, blah, blah, blah. And then like a month later, all of the Republicans wanted to cancel James Gunn for his old like pedophile joke or whatever. And they were saying all the same shit that the fucking Roseanne people were saying. And you just want to go, guys, the sooner we can admit we're all fucking hypocrites and we're all mostly wrong, the quicker we can just like all hang out and surf.
I've personally experienced, I will have days where on the same day, someone's in my thing being like, I heard what you said about whatever, you're a fucking Nazi and whatever. And then this guy will literally be in my thing and be like, I found out you're a communist. How can I even follow you now, you piece of shit lib? Same messages on top of each other. And I'm like, very interesting.
You should have used the word sex worker. That's what set them all off.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just send the screenshot to both of them?
I should, dude. That's really funny. Hey,
you guys debate this, and then I'll see which side I am.
What if they fell in love?
They would.
I do think that's what makes the perfect relationship. A conservative man and a very liberal woman, as God intended.
That is kind of.
I mean, sorry, as Allah.
Yeah. That is truly the stock standard relationship.
If you're a conservative woman and you have a lib man, what the fuck?
That's
Ugh.
that's rough. That's definitely rough.
That's gross.
That's a little gross.
Yeah, dude. Unless it's me, then it's hot and cool.
Yeah. Well, but you guys can still like shoot guns and like
true.
do like
I'm like what people call me a tanky all the time, and I'm to the point where I'm like, all right. Sure.
Wait, what is that?
That's like a person, like a Stalinist, like a person who's like, I guess, like a conservative communist or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Someone who thought the Soviet Union was good.
Got it.
Despite their mistakes or whatever, you know? Because I'm just like, sure, fucking whatever, man. Call me whatever you want. I don't care anymore.
I don't care anymore.
I could give a fuck less. I want you to have health care even though you hate me.
Yeah.
And I think housing and food is a human right. Fuck me, I guess.
Yeah. And by the way, like I'm becoming like a little more, I've started to call myself like a bleeding heart centrist, because I still like everything. I'm definitely becoming more conservative than I used to be. Everything you just said, I agree with 1,000%. And I think that like most people do. Most people do.
Look out for Jamie Kilstein's new podcast, MAGA Cat Communism 2023.
With the caution tape over my mouth.
Yeah.
But yeah,
dude, Comrade Trump.
Comrade Trump. That's fucking funny.
Is that a real movement?
What?
MAGA communism? You're online. Is that real?
No, that was a troll post I sent you.
Yeah.
But the problem the very fun thing about trolling people is sometimes very stupid people take it seriously and make that their personality.
Okay.
They're like, you know what? I do like communism and Trump.
You're about to spawn a movement.
I saw someone who seemed like they were really into it, and I was like, I can't tell if this is just one person or if it's a real thing now.
Whenever you see like a legitimately crazy person and you're like, where did your ideology come from? It started from someone like me being like, I'm going to make this up. And then someone steals it from me and makes it real. And you're like, oh, I was joking. That was one tweet I did back then. I don't really believe anything I say. If you've ever heard me say anything, I'm sorry.
It's true.
You got anything else? You got any plugs? What are you up to?
Yeah, I'll plug stuff.
This is the end of the podcast.
I have a.
It doesn't have to be. But Shayne's on his phone.
I have a mental health comedy podcast called Advice Not Taken, which is new, and you can go to iTunes or Spotify or go to jamiekilsteinpodcast.com. You can follow me on Instagram, where I am happy and when I post, we'll post there, which is at the Jamie Kilstein. Woo. And then stand-up dates are jamiekilstein.com/tour.
Let's fucking go. Also, I will be in Austin in June, late June.
You want to shoot guns with Tim Kennedy?
Yeah, I was gonna say, look out for. I'm gonna go to Texas to stay for like a week.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm gonna go to Waco and surf.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna drive down to Austin and like hang out. I'm gonna be there for like a whole brick of. I'm gonna like do Texas.
Okay, let's like make stuff or just hang out.
But
or
I'm sure Jamie will be at the show.
I'll 100%.
Come say hi to Jamie.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he'll do some comedy.
If you want me to, I would love to. Vulcan's my spot. Yeah, I'll jump on that show in a heartbeat.
You know about Texas Street Fights on YouTube, right?
Oh no, so you started to tell me that. So
We'll show you.
Okay, yeah.
We don't really need to talk about it.
Sorry.
You're gonna
Everybody
see it.
look up Texas Street Fights on YouTube. Subscribe to patreon.com/cowboyboys and go to cowboyboys.store to buy sexy cowboy merch.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Stay online or get offline. The choice is yours.
Get offline. Find Jesus. Bye.
Bye.